Rob, you're there and I'm here. Everyone's been very busy this season, haven't they? It's been the Mac show this season, and I've been very conscious of that. So I'm delighted to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Mac. I'm delighted to be here. And everyone has been busy, but make no mistake, we all love watching the Mac show.
Well, I love watching the Rob show on stage at Bareface the other week. You are quite the cordial MC and host. So
Thank you,
very good job.
You. It was it's always fun. It's always fun when you got good storytellers like yourself.
Such a good night. We are really hurting from a season that is just not inspiring much, is it?
I threw out the question of worst season ever, and gosh, it's been messy. It's been so messy. I mean, I can't even go back to Banu and think about Banu because that just really went downhill. That was painful to watch, and then we were all very hopeful that it was going to start kicking in and getting good. And I guess that was a bit of a heartbreaking episode, this last one, because it just made me feel like, oh, wait a second. There is some people in this game that are really just harpooning everything. I think there's about maybe 5 people that know what they're doing, and there's a bunch of people that just have no idea what they're doing out there.
And we actually had 3, skipping ahead to Tribal, 3 people in the voting booth actually rolled their eyes and pretty much said exactly the same words. Bloody, you're stupid Tribal, ridiculous Tribal. And that was just 3 that we heard of.
Yeah, it seemed to be unanimous about people on the island as well, which is never a good sign. It's never a good thing when the contestants of the show are like winking the camera going, I'm sorry, it's not me, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Never.
This morning, I was actually messaging with Liam, and I did actually speculate on one possible outcome. I actually said that I think there are 2 potential event seasons to become, to still be done. They could either do an anti-winners at war, where all the tribe mates are people that got voted out first. So come back, Jelinski. He is still being talked about in episode several. So Jelinski and other losers could come back, and who knows, that might be an entertaining debacle. But I also think the other event season that could happen is if season 50 turns out to be the last season of Survivor ever, but they go out with a bang. But they would really have to get freaking Survivor royalty. Though that said, I mean, like, if you think like Richard Hatch, who is now appearing on House of Villains season 2. He's now in his 60s, and no one wants to see his naked ass. Not that they wanted to see it in the first place. But you're like, we're not going to get a couple of 60 and 50-year-olds playing, but they'd need to get an amazing final cast for season 50 and then bow out in style. I think that's a possibility.
And they could start with 46 now, so that'll be 47, 48, 49, 50. Why not have like a 4-season narrative start to play out? Why not have we bring back the first evictees, we bring back some all-stars, and we have almost an elimination style group stages World Cup thing, where when we get to the final season, everyone in the final season has earned their way there by going through these last 3 seasons. Like they expand it, go big. Or just the double, 2 seasons, maybe 49 and 50, because they shoot them back to back anyway. Maybe 49 and 50 can have some linkage.
Some leakage. Okay. Sure.
linkage, not leakage. I think.
Okay, linkage. Right.
Linkage.
That was
But they could make it. They could actually span it over a few seasons. This is what I'm saying.
The 6 seasons in a row, there's been no specials or anything, no special themes. So anyway. No. Shall we get into it? Let's get into the actual episode, shall we?
I'm ready.
So we're going to do this thing, and we're going to go over here, and here is where we ended up at the end of last episode. and unfortunately we had Shane and Andrea lose their first players. So at this stage, we have Amanda, Liam, and myself as the only three players in intact team. Okay. And, Denise and Kirby, they're gone from the game. We know we're going to have someone else added to the ranks by the end of this episode. But let's just take a step back to see these are the players that are left standing as per their OG tribe. So we have 4 left from, of course, Yanu started off being absolutely decimated, right? But I have 3 standing compared to Seeker's 3 and just 4 from Nami. So I actually found that's interesting to note, particularly because we know what happens. Well, actually, no, we don't know what's going to happen at the end. We're going to get to that. But any thoughts here? Any surprises?
Surprises. Well, yeah. I mean, if you remember, it's the old adage, isn't it? Like they always have one tribe that gets decimated to start, and they have one tribe that dominates. Nami dominated everything. And now looking there, Nami to me feels like the weakest of those 3. There is some strong bonds in Yanu between Tiffany and Takenzie. There's some strong bonds in Seeger, in particular between Charlie and Maria. Nami just looks like a mess. You've got Rogue Hunter. You've got Venus, who's hilarious, by the way, who's one of my favorite characters. And Liz, and obviously Tevin. So, I think Nami just seems to be they were the strongest early, but they never bonded over failure. They won everything, and then they never actually got any strong ties.
And they only went to tribal once because Randon got medically evacuated, so medically removed from the game. So they only went to tribal once. Yeah,
that's true.
Okay.
So they're the weakest, but ties in general across this game. This was the first time ever I saw a alliance made at a what was it? It wasn't a reward challenge. It was the adventure they take after the challenge. You know how all the 3 guys went there and said, "Well, pick one." They made the +1 alliance of 6, and then as soon as the merge happened, they got rid of someone, Tim, from that alliance, and then they were like, "Charlie, you can step into the alliance." It turned out to be one of the weakest alliances ever because we lost Tim. Now we lost Tevin. That alliance, like there seems to be there's no real alliance happening here, which is actually, from a fan point of view, even though the season's been a mess to date, it does open things up. Anything could happen from here. I think there's 5 people left in the game that could win. And I think it's just opened things up dramatically. Anything could happen. I don't know where this is going to go.
No, I think as you said before, like there's a whole bunch, there's too many people here who don't know how to play the game. They're just kind of like trundling along, and this is season fucking 46 of fuck's sake. But the episode is called Hide and Seek because even TV Tonight, the blog TV Tonight, even made a snide comment about has a 46th season Survivor really come to watching people play a kids game, to fill in time because it's a 90-minute episode. Because of course this season was actually edited and created during the writer's strike, etc. So they needed to fill in. CBS needed to fill in time, so they're 90-minute episodes. And we're playing a fucking kids game.
That's actually a very good point. The writer's strike. You don't think about that for reality TV, but that was still very much.
And the actor's strike,
But it wasn't just a game of hide and seek, though. It was an insight into the very souls of every player and their level of threat. It was a mega mind level strategic move of, oh, look, Hunter's climbing up in a tree. He must be the greatest survivor threat of all time. He has to go. Don't forget that. Some sort of like working out the threats, which I kind of dig. But the last two standing were what? Hunter and who's the other one? It was Ben. Ben also. Obviously the 2 biggest threats in the game left.
So the measure is no longer who is the challenge beast. It's who plays the game hardest back at camp and plays a kids game.
Absolutely.
Sure. So talking of games, we have the Immunity and Reward Challenge. It's a Survivor classic in a classic scene. So we've seen the challenge before. We've seen the location before. And it's interesting that with a poll challenge, so Aussie was the longest win with 2 hours. And he didn't mention, I forgot to look up who was the winner with 17 minutes, the shortest winner on this challenge. Didn't get to look it up. But there was a couple of really interesting quotes. So Jeff said, I think several has entered the Survivor vernacular. And someone said, wait till next season, it will be Survivor 40 several. Love that. So, yeah, that needs to be the name for next season. So this is the order. Q, Liz, Kenzie, Ben, Maria, Tiff, Tevin, Venus, Charlie. That's the order they went out. And Hunter was the last person standing. I didn't catch the time. I think it was about 40. It was over 40 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't catch the time either.
Yeah, pretty sure it's around about 40 minutes. There we go. So Hunter wins, and that's his first immunity, isn't it? Second, if you include hide and seek.
I mean, he should have won the game.
Two in one. Is he the first person to win 2 immunities in the same episode?
Yeah.
Unofficial.
Yeah.
Unofficial. So back at camp, Q is pissed. Yeah, he really went off the rails, didn't he?
He did. He just seems to be, I thought he was quite an interesting thinker to start the game, but now I've realized he's just a massive overthinker. And he just comes to very extreme decision makings. He's not really able to sit in the middle of nuance. He's either it's either this or it's this, and he just seems to be very reactive and very kind of wild.
Well,
he's just wild.
His tantrum made no fucking sense. Vote me out so you can play the game, and when you've voted me, remember that you finally played the game. And then he didn't even get any votes anyway, despite everyone being over it.
Yeah, and everyone was voting Tevin. My feeling is, this is my thinking, is that he thought he was controlling the game. And he wanted to get to the end and to say, I controlled the game. I brought big threats with me. And it didn't matter because I just dominated the game. So give me the $1 million. And it was like, as soon as he recognized that he wasn't calling the shots, he was like, well, if I'm not calling the shots this week, that means my whole strategy is gone to pieces. And now I'm going to go to the opposite side, and I'm going to start playing the GOAT game. And I'm going to become the GOAT, the wild man that people are going to bring to the end because they think he can't win. And he just didn't seem to be able to kind of sit in the middle of that and to go, well, maybe I've lost this battle, but I haven't yet lost the war. He just seemed to be, I wouldn't want to play with him. I wouldn't, the way he's just turned on, there is absolutely no reliability to his alliance at all. He was just about to throw Tiff under the bridge, and even his alliance of 6, which he created, he was just like, Tim, you're gone. So very untrustworthy guy, unfortunately, because I just think he's playing the game a bit too hard.
Yeah. And he's just not made any friends, and I just can't see him lasting to the end. I think he's still a danger of a flight risk of even quitting in the next couple of episodes, thinking that stuff this.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Several Jelinski apparently said that Q wanted to quit on day one. And then there was another time he wanted to quit when he was in, on the tribe, Yanu. Maybe, I don't know. I think he's lampooning a little bit. The thing is, when you've got someone like Q, who's always on screen, sure, he's good television to a degree, but he's now overcrowding everything. And I want to see, we need some oxygen for some of the other players to come to the fore, and he just kind of quashes everyone else's screen time, let alone kind of the strategic thinking. So I think he kind of has got to go to make this thing kind of start working. I think once he goes, it'll be an interesting game.
Well, these are the votes. So Q didn't get any votes. Hunter and Tevin were the only two that voted for Venus. And with the first Venus vote, Venus rolled her eyes, and you could hear them roll in her skull. And I think it's going to create more warfare back at camp. Everyone else went for Tevin. Rob, commiserations, mate. You're the third person to lose their players. You are out of the running.
Yes, I think Tevin's a bit hard done by, to be honest. But anyway.
Yeah. I think Tevin was a really good character. I mean, I would like to have seen him gone further. Yeah.
That's right. I think
he was a sassy bitch.
Well, the only real winner from last night's episode was Soda, who's now going to get to hang out with Tevin at Ponderosa. And I think she's the real winner.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting watch. Well, so there we go. We now have, we still have Amanda, Liam, and myself with our plays intact. And Andrew still has Ben. And Shane still has Charlie. Shikara still has Venus. That's what. So we got tree mail. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Over to you, Rob.
Tree mail. I've gone to the well. I've found some tree mail. I've come back to camp. We're all crowded around, and here it is. We find ourselves with 9 castaways still in the game, with 3 each from the original 3 tribes. Which will be the first tribe to lose their members first? $5 is guaranteed to be won by 3 players in this side bet, as everyone bets on either Nami, Siga, or Yanu to go first. First come, first served on each tribe, but no more than 3 players can bet on any tribe. And for fairness, Mac will take the last bet. If the final 3 has one from each tribe in it, then the winning tribe will be decided by whoever ends in 3rd place at the final vote. Interesting.
So, as I said, I find it very interesting. We have an even split with the 3 tribes.
It is.
So, as you have joined me for this episode of Castaways, and it is first come, first served, I think it's only fair that you get first pick. So who do you think is going to be out first?
Do you want me to talk through my theory a little bit here?
Please. Yeah.
So I think Siga is the strongest tribe at the moment because they've got the least liabilities. But they also have the biggest threats. And Maria and Charlie, who I think are emerging as 2 massive threats in this game. Yanu, I think, has a strong double alliance of Tiffany and Kenzie, but they've got the wild card in Q, who's just burning the house down. Nami is just compromised to the max. You've got Hunter that seems to have no idea what he's doing. He was on the outs. He voted Venus at the last one. You've got Venus, who is certainly, just in her own little world most of the time, and doesn't seem to have strong relationships or strong decision maker in this group. So Liz, however, I think is a strong player, but she's up against it based on those allegiances. Now, however, I think Liz, her intelligence outweighs the liability that Q is. So I actually think Yanu will be the first tribe to be voted out, and I see Liz, Maria, and Charlie sitting there at the end.
Okay. You see Liz, Maria, and Charlie. Interesting. But Siga being the core. I have both Hunter and Liz as my picks. So of course I'm hoping that they're going to last, right? And I also think that Liz, Venus, and Hunter have the determination to do whatever needs to be done to get them to the end. So I can't help but agree that Yanu is more likely to lose all 3. However, out of fairness, I'm going to go last, and I'll just pick whoever is left. So you're locking in Yanu.
I'm locking in Yanu, but I think if people were smart I'd be taking out Maria and Charlie next on the island because they, to me, are the biggest threats left in the game.
Okay. Cool. Well, there we go. That is the side bet. First come, first serve. Get in while you can. Let me also make note of one other thing, which is more relevant now that I should have mentioned last week. So you have now lost both of your players. And if you remember, you had the ultimate advantage where you essentially got to pick both of your players because you could steal. So interesting how that worked out.
Yeah, and I never felt good about that because there is so much chaos in this game, Mac. It always and as we've learned, the people that seem to go first, you can't try to pick. I don't know what you try to pick when you try to pick, but it just seems to be a bit of potluck, to be honest with you. But maybe that's just what people that always lose say.
Yeah, it has been a fair criticism that there's been so much chaos and unpredictability in the US seasons now, which is why people love the Australian version more, because it is more, pure Survivor. Anyway, I think that's it for now.
Yeah,
we're pretty much done. So, final thoughts or?
Final thoughts is I hope things start to get better. I want to see Q go on. I want to see Q go on. I think Q's been a great character, but he just dominates too much. We need to see some other characters. I think he's sucking the oxygen out of the room, and we need to. I hope he goes next.
Is it possible that we're in Married at First Sight territory where people don't want to be on the show; they just want to be on TV?
Possibly. Although he seems a legitimate lover of the game. And that would mean, I guess I drew some attention to the racial bias after the merge. So actually, I don't think I want Q gone because that would mean 4 players who are black all gone first after the merge, which would be a continuation of the kind of the negative trend of, I think speaking to more unconscious bias that we hold. And maybe I actually take that back. Maybe I'd like to see someone else. I don't know. I just want to see the game open up. I want to see people start to play in less chaotic fashion.
I just want to see worthy winners again.
Just want to see worthy winners. Exactly. Right. I think Maria and Charlie have to take control of this game.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
See you later, Mac.
Good luck with the side bets. Go forth. Bye.